about 78 days or so, or for the last 78 days or so, I've been writing what's essentially an essay a day, an essay every day, though it's not some sort of academic essay. I don't oftenly speak on any other stories or intellectuals. I'm not an intellectual on intellectuals, I suppose I should say. I'm not doing that. It's essentially an essay every day on what I think I can do better on a personal basis. But what I haven't noticed, what I had not noticed until just a couple of days ago, is what it effectively is truly doing, what I'm truly doing in writing essays. I think that this little activity that I've done has essentially forced me to take these abstract ideas that are flowing around my head, that exist without any purely defined motive, any purely defined direction. And I've been able to take that, and I've forced them to be concrete, to be more stable and firm in my mind. And I think this is incredibly important, or an incredibly useful skill and habit to have. And not only because it's improved my writing in both English and French drastically, but also because now I suppose I'm using the intelligence that I was naturally born with, and to its most effective degree. Now, of course, this intelligence isn't exactly a Newton or a Kant, but it's still more useful than it once was, right? I think that you can change your baseline intelligence to a drastic degree, be it simply through IQ or EQ or whatnot, right? In such a way that once you've used your potential intelligence effectively, once you've taken the level you're at and you're using it to the highest possible degree, you're having 100% output here, right? And now you raise the bar slowly and surely and actually increase your intelligence. I think that's what's gonna set a genius apart from just a smart person. The ability to improve continuously and the expertise continuously. Now, on a genius, on the subject of genius, I wrote a couple of pages last month, or at the beginning of this month, on what exactly is a genius, what makes a genius, how does one become a genius, and do you even want to become a genius? So this genius, of course, this is a flawed system already. Improving upon it, I'm building upon it. This is an initial block that I think that I'll be able to evolve and change over time. So I think a genius, first off, what they're able to do, and this is perhaps most important, is the ability to ask the correct questions. The other month I saw a video that posited that all of Newton's discoveries, specifically in the realm of math, like calculus specifically, isn't necessarily that impressive of a feat, though, well, impressive would be the wrong word, that overwhelming of a feat. It doesn't, he essentially posited that so long as you ask the correct questions, your average person could be able to come up with calculus. Now, I don't even know what calculus is, really, and this video couldn't keep my attention well enough to prevent me from scrolling to the next one, as I don't know what the next one was, but surely far more stimulating than the 10 or so minute TikTok video without a large amount of cuts between and with very high quality editing, right? But I think even so, the idea presented there is very, very interesting. It's very important, even if it's correct or not, right? In which what I'm trying to say here is that a genius is able to effectively ask the correct questions. Now, how do we determine the correct question? Well, we look at a given circumstance, we ask, okay, what's the problem that I'm having here that is preventing me from acting at my most effective degree, or from that is preventing those in my entourage from everything from acting in its most effective degree, right? You ask yourself that. Let's imagine for a second, oh, well, I haven't finished an essay in class. I haven't finished the last several essays I've had. I haven't finished my math homework, blah, 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 blah. I haven't done any of my homework, all right? Well, what's the problem here? All right, it's obviously that I have a problem with procrastination and not motivation, with discipline. So how do I control myself? How do I perhaps adapt myself in such a way that I have the proper discipline required to do the homework? Well, first of all, I should start off by getting off my high horse. Last year, I had my finals in science. Science was, at the time, one of my more lower marks. It's very much the opposite this year, but it's because I didn't study at all. And the day before I was gonna have my final, I was thinking, okay, Sam, lock in here a little bit. Do your final, and do very well. And you're gonna do very well because you're gonna study. Bam. I get a notification from work. It says, hey, your shift starts in an hour. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I go to work, right? And I be a good boy and doing my work, and I do it well. Get home around 9:30 to 10. I am the most tired that I have ever been in my entire life. In fact, I was so tired that on my way home I bought a white Monster, so I can, have some level of something keeping me from working off of zero here, right? And so I say, okay, set an alarm for 3:30 in the morning. I do that, go to bed. Bed is awesome. In fact, it's too awesome. I wake up. I'm the most well-rested I have been in multiple months. And there's light shining through my curtain. There usually isn't light shining through my curtains at 3 in the morning. I look at my phone. It's 7:30. That's not good. In fact, it's very less than ideal. In other words, I don't have any time to study, and I get to my final, and I do pretty damn well on it, not gonna lie. And there I realized, wait a minute, I can just not study. And I studied for my other finals, but I realized in that moment I could just not study. But that was very bad. To return to what I was saying earlier, this motivated me to continue my negative habits that are not studying, not doing my studies, not doing what I am meant to be doing, not fulfilling the arranged agreement that I have created with my teachers in going to school, right? Now, I have this problem. Of course, every year becomes incrementally more difficult. And right now, I'm doing what would typically be a year above because of the way my school is organized. I'm not special anyway. Every student in my year is doing that. And I'm struggling a little more, right? Especially on the less intuitive subjects that I can physically handle, right? You know, such as cellular respiration and photosynthesis, right? And last chapter was on, I believe, what even was last chapter on? Oh, it was on the digestive system. And I got to the test, and I didn't even bother doing the test because I remembered nothing. Zilch. I got 2 questions right the entire exam. And that's only because those questions could be logically worked out for my part, right? And so instead of doing that, I just essentially wrote an essay on the back of my test. And I was like, hey, I feel like I'm learning nothing. I feel like I'm achieving nothing here, really. What can I do, right? And I complained. And thankfully, my teacher is a very, very caring woman, and she's very flexible. And I wouldn't have the habits that I do now. I'm talking like this is a while ago. This was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't have those. I hadn't had the proper habits then that she's instilled in me. And she essentially said, Sam, I'm gonna do the best that I can to adapt my classes to your needs, right? And of course, I'm gonna need you to put in your own proper effort. And I was so touched by this that I was like, okay, I'll do the questions in the manual, right? The manual. Textbook, English. So that was just a little example on proper question asking, you know? I asked the question, hey, what's my problem? Oh, well, I don't have the proper study habits. And then second step is perhaps to put in a plan that is flexible enough, right? You don't want this to be a concrete plan, and also you don't want to immediately have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, etc., right? Because if you're spending your days planning, you're not actually doing the action, are you? Right? So essentially, this first level is to, or this first aspect is to ask the proper questions, and then to make a plan, and then finally to implement this plan, then do it again. Okay, this plan, perhaps it went well, perhaps it went horribly wrong, but what were the flaws in this plan? How can I improve upon this and implement an even better plan next time, right? I think that simply doing this is amongst the most effective habits that I'd highly, highly recommend. I think that's one of the first aspects of genius there. If you want to become a genius, from people that I'd consider a genius, from the most intelligent people that I've heard of and I've known, they say that, oh, genius is a curse. I don't think it's a curse. From an outsider's look in, it doesn't seem like a curse. I'll be honest here. It looks like knowledge, and I think knowledge might plague you to an extent, because it's never going to be enough, is it? But I think that being a hell that's disguised as heaven is perhaps even worse than a heaven that, fuck, I messed up the quote. Wait. Try again, reset. I just lost all my aura there. A hell that is disguised as heaven is just as bad as a hell that presents itself as it is, even if you may receive more pleasure in this heavenly hell. But I'm gonna end it here for today. You know, sorry I didn't talk about the other 2 aspects. I know you're just craving on it. if you're here more than 2 days from now, I'll probably have made some videos on the other two aspects, and you can watch those. So this is part 1, I suppose you can say. Anyways, that's about it. God bless.